Hello everyone, just working on the game a little bit, trying to make somewhat of a significant change in my game, and that's what we're talking about this week. We're wrapping up the Winter Series Golf Tips. We're talking about the process of making a change in your game, and what to expect while you're going through that process, and also what to do, in certain situations to help you to continue to improve at a fast rate. And whatever you're making a change, whether it's a big change or a small change in your game, whatever it is, number one, you can always expect for your body to resist against those changes, and for your body to feel uncomfortable or a little bit awkward. Okay, if you're not feeling that, if you're feeling still somewhat comfortable, you might not be exaggerating that change or exaggerating that move, okay, to the point of what you should be doing. And so our body is used to doing one thing for so long. Whenever we introduce something new, it's going to feel awkward and it's going to feel uncomfortable. So for that first period until you start to lock it in, until you start to ingrain those changes more and more, always count on feeling a little resistance and feeling uncomfortable. Especially when you get out on the golf course, if you're in the middle of making a change or in the middle of making a big improvement in your game, and then go out and play a little bit, okay, you're going to feel probably even a little bit more out there. Your body is going to want to revert back to a comfort zone when you are on the course. So that's number one, is to catch you're always going to feel a little bit of resistance early on. And number two, what to expect. Always expect, maybe for your game, if you're making a significant change, just if you're making a big change in your game, always to expect that your game might not be hitting on all cylinders right off the bat, especially when you go out and play. If you're trying to play a few rounds in between doing a little work on the range, you might not be quite hitting as many good shots as you would have liked right off the bat. But as you put in more and more reps, you will start to see the improvement. But right away, the initial period, okay, might be a little bit of a low. Okay, so expect to, number one, feel some resistance to that change in your body, and number two, okay, expect to maybe not hit as many good shots right off the bat as you might have thought. Okay, you might have a couple good ones and a couple not so good ones, but eventually it'll kick in. So what can you do to help speed up this process? Well, the first thing you can do is, while you're working on this game or working on this change, is to have a game plan. Every time you go to the range or every time you go to the course, if you only have 20 minutes to work on this change, is to always have a game plan for those 20 minutes and try to make those 20 minutes as efficient as possible. And what I've done here is I'm working on with some swing aids, okay, a couple different swing aids, and what I'm trying to do is my body hasn't ingrained the change that I'm trying to make, so I'm trying to use these aids and in different drills to help me to help my body feel this more often than not. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm hitting about 4 or 5 shots with these training aids, or going through a different drill, and then I'm going to hit about 4 or 5 shots without any training aids or without a drill. So I'm always reverting back and forth between the two, so my body can always pick up and always sense where it needs to be. Okay, if we were to go to the range and try to hit 50 balls just by working on a swing change, a certain move, your body probably wouldn't pick it up as quick versus having something that's going to give you immediate feedback. Okay, that's number one. Number two is, and this is the biggest advice that I can give you, is that when you're going through this change, is to always do your best. And I know it's tough, but to always do your best to not let your body revert back to its old habits. Okay, not let your body get back into that comfort zone right off the bat. Okay, especially when you play. This is where you're going to have to fight it the most. When you're out there playing, okay, and you're not quite hitting it that well right away, okay, is to stick with always try to stick with what you've been trying to do. You're trying to accomplish that goal, and try not to revert back to those old habits, that old comfort zone, because if you do, you're just backing up the process, and it's going to take you that much longer to reach your goals. Okay, so that's probably the toughest thing to do when you're going through a change, is to want to revert back. But it's those that stick through it, that never give up, that kind of stick through that change and stick through that uncomfortable period, those are the folks that are really going to see an improvement in their game. And then once that happens, once it clicks, it's going to be yours. You're going to own that change, and you won't have to think about it that much anymore. It's going to be ingrained into your body, and you'll be able to move on and improve in your game. So, a great example. I don't know if you watched a little bit of LPGA golf last weekend, but a great example is a gal by the name of Stacy Lewis. Stacy Lewis is an LPGA Tour player, and she ended up shooting a final round 64 last weekend down in Phoenix to win, and which vaulted her to #1 in the world. Stacy is an American, and it's only the second time that an American has ever reached the top rankings on the LPGA at #1 in the world. And also, Stacy, last year she won the 2012 Player of the Year on the LPGA Tour, and there's only been 2 Americans that have ever accomplished that. The last time an American has ever won the Player of the Year award on the LPGA Tour was 1994, and that was Beth Daniels. So, and this is a gal, if you haven't read her story, Stacy Lewis, you get on the internet and do some research. This is a great story, but Stacy grew up with scoliosis, and she was in a back brace for 7 years. And she never ever thought, coming out of college, that she would ever play a round of golf again, because she had a metal rod placed in her back along with some other surgeries, and so she never thought she would play a round of golf, let alone become the #1 player in the world. But it's a great story. It's a story of commitment and process, and a story of dedication to what she was trying to do. She had a goal in mind, and she just stuck to that process no matter how bad it got, and now she's #1 in the world. So I encourage you to check it out. It's a great story, and we can all learn from something from that when we're working on one thing or the other. So I hope you have a great 2013 on the links, and we're going to check back in with you here as the season gets going with more golf tips. In the meantime, if you have any questions, just give us a call, contact any one of us golf professionals, and we'd be happy to help you.